Okay, and what we're going to do now is some histograms questions, and probably the most useful thing you can do here is to, underneath where it says frequency, just put the word area and scribble out this one and change that to heights. And because the key thing about histograms is it's not the height that gives you the quantity, it's the area. And so this area is supposed to represent 90. And this, in this third blocker, this here somehow we've got to get 140 in there. Well, you can see the width here is 100. The width here is 1,000. Sorry, I got that wrong. That's 1,000. That one's 1,000. This is 500. This one is 1,500. Okay, and so we've got some widths, we've got some areas. We're going to need some heights or some lengths, because height times the width is going to give us the area. So I need to ask myself what multiplies with 1,000 to give me 90. And I've got the calculator, and now you might say, oh, do I do 90 divided by 1,000 or 1,000 divided by 90? Well, if you do 90 divided by 1,000, okay, you get 0.09, and if you can see that, 0.09, and if I do 0.09, sorry, the light's shining there, 0.9 times 1,000, yeah, that gives me 90. Okay, so that was a good guess. So 90 times 1,000. So I'm just going to so you can see 90 times 1,000. Okay, so this is going to be 0.9. 0.09. And there are basically two ways of doing histograms. One is to figure out what this height scale is, or to get some sort of key where you know how much each little square is worth in terms of quantity. Well, I know that this bit is supposed to be 0.09. And now I'm going to count the little squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that means that each little square must be worth 0.01. And it means that this one must be 0.10. Okay, and this one must be 0.20 and 0.30. Okay, well, let's have a look here. So if I can now work out, using that scale, what this height is. And I make this, is 1, 2, 3, I make that 0.13 in height. And because I've got the height and I've got the width, I can now work out the area, which is 1,000 times 0.13. Okay, this is what I've done, 1,000 times 0.13, which anyway, it turns out to be 130, so I know this is 130. Okay, here I can work out the height here, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little squares, 8 times 0.01, okay, that's going to be 0.08. And so to get this area, it's just 1,500 times 0.08, which gives me 120. You can see that there. And it's 120. Okay, now I've got to work out this height. So I need a height. Okay, I need a height. Multiplies with 500 to give me 140. So I'm going to do 140 divided by 500. Remember, 500 was the width. And that gives me, can you see that there? 0.28. 0.28. This calculator's not easy to see, is it? So just, that's it. 140 divided by 500, 0.28. And so looking at that scale, that means 0.2. That means it's going to be just below there, 2 squares underneath that. And I've got to there, and I just draw that in. You should use a ruler just for the sake of speed. I'm not. And so so this was a height of 0.28. So along with heights, okay, I think heights is a lot easier idea than trying to figure out what frequency density is. So we've got the height times the width gives that. And now I can finish the thing, which is this one was 130, this one was 120, and we've completed the question here was to complete the table and to complete the histogram. The last little bit says, can you work out the upper quartile calories? Okay, so well, you can see that altogether there was 90, 130 makes 220, 220, 360. There's 480 people here altogether, which means that there must be 120 in the bottom quartile, 240 in the interquartile range, and 120 in the top, okay, top quartile. And so here, it's obviously that these guys are in the top quartile in terms of the calorie intake, which means that you had to consume over 2,500 calories to be in that top quartile. So my answer for this one is 2,500.